5 years had passed since the humans were sent to die on Korath 7. Now Kehoe stood before the Galactic Council once again, but everything was different. The Great Hall looked the same, but this time Kehoe was not standing alone in the center, as an accused exile. He was sitting at the council table in the chair marked Terran Republic, as an equal member of the galactic community. The council recognizes Ambassador Kehoe of the Terran Republic, announced the current council leader, a floating gas creature named Wisbeth. Kehoe stood up and looked around the hall. Many of the same aliens who had voted to exile him were still there, but they looked at him very differently now. Some with curiosity, some with respect, and some with something that might have been fear. "Thank you, Council Leader," Kehoe said. "I am here today to present the annual report on the Terran Terraforming Initiative." He activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy with dozens of worlds highlighted in green. As of this month, we have successfully transformed 23 deathworlds into thriving ecosystems. Korath 7 now supports a population of over 200,000 humans and serves as the headquarters for our terraforming operations. The other transformed worlds have populations ranging from 10,000 to 50,000 each. Murmurs filled the hall. Even after 5 years, many council members still could not believe what the humans had accomplished. Our latest success was the transformation of Vextal Prime, Kehoe continued, a Class 0 world that had been uninhabitable for over 3 million years. It is now home to 30,000 humans and has begun accepting colonists from other species who want to live in a fully integrated ecosystem. Coordinator Thexon, the spider-like alien who had supported human exile, raised one of his many arms. "Ambassador Kehoe, the Council is grateful for humanity's contributions to galactic society, but we remain concerned about the speed of human expansion." "Expansion?" Kehoe asked. "In 5 years, you have grown from 3,000 exiles to over 1 million citizens spread across 24 worlds. At this rate, humans will outnumber every other species in the galaxy within a century." Kehoe smiled. "Coordinator Thexon, that is not expansion. That is immigration. Humans from Earth and the colonies are choosing to move to our worlds because we offer something they cannot find anywhere else. And what is that? Hope." The holographic display changed to show scenes from human worlds. Cities where the buildings were alive and growing, forests where predators and prey worked together in perfect balance, oceans where the water cleaned itself and the fish sang songs that could be heard from space. "Every human world offers something unique," Kehoe continued. "On New Earth, we have created cities that repair themselves and grow more beautiful with age. On Harmony Station, we have developed agriculture systems that produce more food than the planet's ecosystem consumes. On Paradise Found, we have built the first truly sustainable industrial complex that actually improves the environment." Velthar, the crystal being who had pronounced the original sentence, spoke up. "And yet you continue to request access to more deathworlds." "Because they are not deathworlds," Kehoe replied. "They are unfinished worlds waiting for partners who can help them complete their development." The display showed Wu Jin's latest research. In the 5 years since Korath 7, human scientists had discovered that there were hundreds of artificial worlds scattered across the galaxy. All had been built by the same unknown species. All were designed to support life in extraordinary ways, and all were waiting for the right partners to help them fulfill their potential. "We have identified over 300 candidate worlds," Kehoe said. "Each one represents an opportunity to create new homes, new ecosystems, and new possibilities for all galactic species." "But why do only humans succeed on these worlds?" asked Representative Quexmal, whose people had tried to colonize 2 of the deathworlds and failed both times. "Because of how we think about problems," Kehoe said. "When other species encounter a hostile environment, they try to change it or protect themselves from it. When humans encounter a hostile environment, we try to understand it and work with it." Sora, who now served as the Terran Republic's chief science officer, stood up to address the council. "The artificial worlds are not trying to kill colonists," she explained. "They are testing them, looking for species that can adapt, cooperate, and contribute to the ecosystem rather than just exploiting it." "And humans pass these tests?" Wisbeth asked. "Humans excel at these tests," Sora said. We are naturally cooperative. We adapt quickly to new situations. And we have a tendency to try to improve everything we touch. Yu Jin, now the director of Galactic Engineering, showed the council videos of human construction projects. "Look at what we build," she said. "Not just structures to live in, but partners to live with. Our buildings are alive. Our cities are ecosystems. Our technology works with nature instead of against it." The videos showed impossible things. Buildings that grew like plants but functioned like machines. Transportation systems based on trained animals that moved faster than any mechanical vehicle. Power grids made of living organisms that generated more energy than they consumed. "This is what happens when humans settle a world," Yu Jin said. "We do not just make it habitable, we make it better than it was before." Taeho, who now commanded the Galactic Ecosystem Defense Force, presented the military implications. "Human worlds are the safest in the galaxy," he said. "Crime is almost non-existent because everyone is part of a community that extends beyond their own species. Disease is rare because the planetary ecosystems actively maintain health. Natural disasters are prevented because we work with planetary systems instead of fighting against them." "But what about the danger to other species?" asked Coordinator Thexon. "Humans remain unpredictable and difficult to understand." Minho, who had become the Terran Republic's Minister of Interspecies Relations, laughed. "Coordinator, we have citizens from 47 different species living on human worlds. They chose to move there because human communities are more welcoming, more prosperous, and more interesting than anywhere else they could live." "It is true," added a new voice from the back of the hall. Everyone turned to see Representative Fluxara, the technician who had first detected the impossible changes on Korath 7. He had requested permission to move to New Earth 2 years ago. "Have lived on a human world for 2 years, Fluxara said. "It is the best experience of my life. The humans did not just accept me as a neighbor, they made me part of their community. My children play with human children and learn things that no school in the galaxy could teach them." More voices joined in from around the hall. Over the years, representatives from dozens of species had visited human worlds. Many had chosen to immigrate permanently. "The humans are not dangerous because they are destructive," said Ambassador Hesseval, whose entire family now lived on Paradise. "Found. They are remarkable because they are creative." Council Leader Wispeth floated higher in the chamber. "Ambassador Kehoe, what does humanity want from this council?" "We want to continue our work," Kehoe said. "We want to transform more worlds, welcome more immigrants, and share what we have learned with anyone who wants to learn. And in return, we want to be treated as equal partners in building a better galaxy for everyone." The vote was not even close. The Council unanimously approved the Terran Republic's request for expanded terraforming rights and agreed to provide funding and support for human-led ecosystem development projects. After the meeting, Kehoe walked through the Council Station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. Dayun joined him there. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if we had never been exiled?" she asked. Kehoe considered the question. "We would still be living in Earth colonies, working normal jobs, and never knowing what we were capable of." "So you are grateful to Velthar for sending us to Korath 7? "In a way, yes. He thought he was punishing us, but he actually gave us the greatest gift in the galaxy." "What gift?" "He showed us who we really are." Through the observation deck windows, they could see ships heading toward human space. Some carried immigrants looking for new homes. Others carried scientists who wanted to study human terraforming techniques. Still others carried diplomats, hoping to arrange partnerships between human worlds and their own governments. "Look at that," Daun said, pointing to a massive transport convoy heading toward Korath 7. 5,000 new immigrants this month alone. And next month, 10,000. Maybe more. Kehoe smiled. Somewhere in space, there were hundreds of artificial worlds waiting for partners who could help them become what they were meant to be. And now there were humans who had learned how to listen to what those worlds were trying to say. The aliens had sent 3,000 humans to a death world, expecting them to die quietly and solve the human problem forever. Instead, they had created 1 million humans who were transforming the galaxy one world at a time. The human problem had not been solved. It had just gotten much, much bigger, and that was exactly the way Kehoe wanted it. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was quiet except for the soft hum of translation devices. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in their seats, all looking at the single human standing in the center of the room. Kehoe stood straight with his hands behind his back. His dark suit looked simple compared to the colorful robes and strange armor worn by the aliens around him. Da-Un, his helper, sat nearby with her tablet ready to record everything that happened. The council leader, a tall being made of living crystal called Velthar, spoke first. "We are here today to decide what to do with the humans after the Terra incident." Kehoe wanted to argue, but he stayed quiet. The Terra incident was not really their fault. The humans had tried to shake hands with Ambassador Quesmal, not knowing that touching his skin would make him sick for weeks. They had brought flowers to the peace dinner, not knowing that the smell would make half the guests pass out. They had tried to be friendly, but everything went wrong. "The humans are too dangerous," said a voice from the back. It belonged to Coordinator Thexon, whose people looked like giant spiders. "They cannot control themselves. They do not understand our ways." "We tried to learn," Kehoe said, finally speaking up. "We studied your cultures for months before coming here. And yet you still caused 3 wars to almost start," Velthar replied. His crystal body flashed red with anger. "Your people nearly destroyed 1,000 years of peace." Dayun looked up from her tablet. "Sir, should I contact Earth now?" Kehoe shook his head slightly. He knew this was not going well, but he wanted to hear their decision first. Velthar stood up tall, making the light in the room dance through his crystal body. "The Galactic Council has made its choice. We cannot allow humans to stay in civilized space. You are too unpredictable, too violent, too strange." "But we can learn," Kehoe said. "Give us another chance." "No," Velthar said firmly. "But we will not kill you. We are not like that. Instead, we will send you somewhere where you cannot harm anyone." The room became very quiet. Every alien was staring at Kehoe now. "Where?" Kehoe asked, though he was afraid to know. "Korath 7, Velthar said. "A Class 0 deathworld, the most dangerous planet we know." Da-Un gasped and almost dropped her tablet. Even Kehoe felt his heart skip a beat. Everyone in the galaxy knew about Class 0 worlds. They were planets so dangerous that no one could live on them. The few times aliens had tried to explore them, everyone died within days. "That is murder," Kehoe said. "You are sending us there, to die." "No," Velthar replied. "We are giving you a choice. You can try to survive there, or you can choose a quick death here. We think you prefer to try." Kehoe looked around the room. Some aliens looked sad, but most looked relieved. They wanted the humans gone, and they did not care how. "How many of us?" Kehoe asked. "All humans in our space," Velthar said. "About 3,000 people from your colonies." "The children too?" "Everyone." Dayun was typing fast on her tablet now, trying to send messages to Earth and the human colonies. But Kehoe knew it was too late. The council had already decided. "Korath 7 has acid rain that can melt metal," said another alien representative. "The plants hunt and eat animals, the air is poison. Even the ground moves and tries to kill you." "The gravity changes without warning," added someone else. "It can crush you flat or throw you into space." "No one has ever survived more than 6 days there," Velthar said. "But perhaps humans will be different. You are very hard to kill." Kehoe thought about his wife and children back on Earth. At least they would be safe. But the colonists, the people who had trusted him to speak for them in the council, would all die because of his mistakes. "When?" he asked. "Now," Velthar said. "The ships are ready." Kehoe heard the sound of heavy footsteps behind him. When he turned around, he saw robot guards coming into the hall. They were not pointing weapons, but Kehoe knew he could not fight them. "You have 10 minutes to say goodbye to your people," Velthar said. "Then the ships leave." Kehoe was taken to a holding area where other humans were waiting. There was Wu Jin, a scientist who studied alien plants and animals. Sora was there too, an expert on how planets work. Taeho, a military officer, stood near the wall looking angry. Yu Jin, an engineer who built things, was trying to comfort her young daughter. What did they decide? Wu Jin asked. Korath 7, Kiho said simply. Everyone became quiet. Even the children stopped talking. Well, Taeho said finally, I guess we better make the best of it. Make the best of it? Sora laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. It's a death world. Nothing can live there. Nothing alien can live there, Taeho said. Maybe humans are different. Yu Jin held her daughter closer. How long do we have? The ships are leaving now, Kiho said. Minho, who helped organize the civilian colonists, stood up. Then we better get everyone ready. If we are going to die, we will die together. The robot guards came back and led them through long hallways to the transport ships. The ships were not nice passenger ships. They were cargo ships with just enough life support to keep them alive during the journey. As they were loaded onto the ships, Kiho saw families being separated, children crying, and people saying goodbye to friends they would never see again. But he also saw something else. He saw humans being humans. They were sharing food, helping each other carry bags, and taking care of the children who were alone. Da-un came up beside him. I sent the message to Earth. They know what happened. Good, Kiho said. At least someone will remember us. The ship doors closed with a loud bang. Through the small windows, Kiho could see the aliens watching from the docking bay. Some looked sad, but most looked relieved. The human problem was solved. As the ship began to move, Kiho sat down next to Yu Jin and her daughter. The little girl looked up at him with big eyes. Are we going to die? She asked. Kiho thought for a moment. He could lie to her, but humans did not lie to their children about important things. Maybe, he said, but we are going to try very hard not to. Good, the girl said. I do not want to die yet. Kiho smiled for the first time that day. Neither do I. Through the ship's windows, they could see space moving past them. Somewhere ahead was Korath 7, the planet that was supposed to kill them all. But Kiho was beginning to think that maybe, just maybe, the aliens did not understand humans as well as they thought they did. The journey would take 7 days. 7 days to prepare for the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. 7 days to figure out how to survive where no one had ever survived before. But they were humans, and humans were very good at surviving. 6 months after the crash, New Busan looked like a place where people actually wanted to live. The buildings Yu Jin had designed using local materials and pieces from the ship were not just shelters anymore. They were homes. Kiho walked through the main street in the early morning. The acid rain had fallen all night and the buildings were shining black and stronger than ever. Children ran past him, laughing as they played games that would have been impossible on Earth. They jumped high when the gravity was light and stayed low when it was heavy, moving like they had been born on this world. In a way, some of them had been. 3 babies had been born since they arrived, and these children seemed to understand Korath 7 in ways the adults had to learn. They could tell when the gravity was about to change just by listening to the wind. They never got sick from the air, and they could eat plants that still made the adults feel bad. They are adapting faster than we are, Sora had said while watching one of the babies sleep. Their bodies are learning to live here from the very beginning. Wu Jin's research lab was built inside what used to be the ship's cargo hold. Had spent months studying the planet's ecosystem, and his discoveries kept surprising everyone. Come look at this, he called to Kiho as he walked by. Inside the lab, Wu Jin had samples of dozens of different plants and animals. Some were in glass containers, others were growing freely in special areas. You know how we thought the plants were just dangerous? Wu Jin asked. Yes. Well, they are dangerous if you do not understand them. But if you learn how they work, they are the most helpful things on the planet. Wu Jin led Kiho to a section where several of the carnivorous plants were growing. These were the ones that had killed some of the humans in the first weeks. But now they looked different. They were bigger and their colors were brighter. "Watch this," Wujin said. He cut his finger with a knife and let a drop of blood fall near one of the plants. The plant moved quickly, but instead of trying to eat Wujin, it reached out and touched the drop of blood gently. Then it grew a small fruit and offered it to him. "They learn about us from our blood," Wujin explained. "And once they understand that we are not food, they start to help us. This fruit has everything my body needs to stay healthy on this planet." "That's amazing," Kehoe said. "It gets better. The plants talk to each other. When one plant learns that humans are friends, it tells all the other plants in the area. That is why we can walk safely in the forest now." Sora's work was even more incredible. She had figured out that Korath 7 was not a natural planet at all. Someone had built it long ago, but the project had gone wrong. "Look at these readings," she said, showing Kehoe her charts. "The gravity changes follow a pattern because there are machines deep underground. The acid rain happens because the atmosphere is still trying to balance itself. The electromagnetic storms are part of a planet-wide energy system. Who built it? I do not know. But whoever they were trying to make the perfect world, a place where life could grow faster and stronger than anywhere else. Then why is it so dangerous? Because it was never finished. The systems are all working, but they need someone to help them complete the process." Sora pointed to a map of the areas where humans had settled. Everywhere humans lived, the planet was becoming more stable. The gravity changes were smaller and more predictable. The acid rain was less harmful. The storms provided steady power instead of random destruction. "We are not just adapting to the planet," Sora said. "We are helping it finish what it was supposed to become." Teho had trained teams of humans to work with the planet's ecosystem instead of fighting against it. They did not hunt animals in the normal way. Instead, they became part of the planet's food chain, taking only what they needed and giving back what they could. "The big predators do not attack us anymore," Teho told Kehoe. "We give them information about where to find prey, and they make sure smaller predators do not bother our camps." Information? Through the plants. Everything on this planet is connected. When we tell one plant something, all the plants know it within hours. The hunting teams had also learned to use the gravity changes as a tool. They could jump incredible distances when the gravity was light, and they could move heavy objects easily. What had seemed like a deadly problem was now a useful skill. Eugen's engineering projects were getting bigger and more ambitious. She was not just building houses anymore. She was building a city. "Look at this," she said, showing Kehoe her plans. "We can build towers that use the gravity changes to move elevators. We can make roads that guide the acid rain to where we want it to go. We can turn the electromagnetic storms into a power grid that serves the whole planet. How is this possible? Because we understand how the planet works now. The aliens who sent us here thought it was broken, but it is not. It just needed the right partners to help it work properly." The city Eugen was planning would house 50,000 people. It would grow its own food using the carnivorous plants. It would recycle everything through the planet's natural systems. And it would be beautiful in a way that no one had ever seen before. Minho had organized trade between the different human settlements on the planet. What had started as scattered groups of survivors was becoming a network of communities. "We have 17 settlements now," he told Kehoe. "Each one specializes in something different. New Seoul is the best at growing food. New Incheon makes the best tools. New Daejeon has the best doctors. And New Busan? We are the center of it all, the place where new ideas come from." Dayun had finally managed to contact Earth using the planet's communication system. The message had taken months to reach Earth, and the reply had taken months to come back. "What did they say?" Kehoe asked. "They want to know how we are still alive," Dayun said, smiling. "Earth thinks we all died months ago." "What did you tell them?" "That we are not just alive. We are building something incredible." Kehoe walked to the edge of New Busan and looked out at the landscape. The black trees swayed in the wind, but now he knew they were not threatening. They were welcoming. The strange animals moved through the forest, but they were not hunting humans. They were part of the same community. In the distance, he could see the lights of New Seoul, where Wu Jin had set up an agricultural center. The plants there grew food that was better than anything on Earth. Further away, the glow of New Incheon showed where Wu Jin's engineering teams were building machines that worked with the planet's natural systems. The population had dropped from 3,000 to 2,400 in the first months. But now it was growing again. People were healthy, happy, and having children. The children born on Korath 7 were stronger and smarter than their parents. "We are not the same species we were when we arrived," Sora had said. "We are becoming something new." Kiho thought about the aliens who had sent them here to die. They had made a mistake. They thought Korath 7 was a death world, but it was actually a world that made life stronger. They thought humans were too dangerous to live in civilized space, but humans were exactly what this world needed to become civilized. As he watched the sunset paint the green sky in colors that still had no names, Kiho realized something important. The aliens had not punished the humans by sending them here. They had given them the greatest gift in the galaxy. The Galactic Council survey ship Righteous Inquiry dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Korath 7 system. Captain Zefkai, whose silicon-based body clicked softly when he was nervous, stared at the readings on his screens. "Are you certain? These are the correct coordinates?" he asked his navigator. "Yes, Captain. This is definitely the Korath 7 system." But something was wrong. The monitoring stations had been reporting impossible changes for months. Now that they were here to investigate, the readings were even stranger. "Lieutenant Vexna," Zefkai called to his science officer. "What are your sensors showing?" The mantis-like alien worked at her station for several minutes before responding. "Captain, I am detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface, organized electromagnetic patterns consistent with advanced technology, and..." She paused, checking her readings again. "Extensive biological activity. Biological activity? On a Class 0 death world? More than biological activity, sir. I am detecting what appears to be a thriving ecosystem. The atmospheric composition has changed dramatically. The planet now has breathable air over 70% of its surface." Zefkai's crystalline body rang like a bell when he was shocked. The sound filled the bridge. "That is impossible." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted. "We are receiving a transmission from the planet." "A transmission? From whom?" "It appears to be from a human." "Sir." Zefkai had read the reports about the human exile. 3,000 humans sent to die on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. That had been over 2 years ago. There should be nothing left of them but bones. "Put it through," he said. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at a human woman in a clean, well-fitted uniform. She was sitting in what appeared to be a modern office, with plants visible through windows behind her. "Greetings," the woman said in perfect Galactic standard. "This is Dayun Park of the Korath 7 Terran Republic. Welcome to our system." Zefkai stared at the screen. "You are human." "Yes, I am." "Are you here on official Galactic Council business?" "We are here to investigate reports of impossible readings from this planet." "You should be dead." Da-Un smiled. "As you can see, reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated. Would you like to visit the surface? I think you will find our world quite interesting." "Your world?" "Korath 7 is now the capital world of the Terran Republic. We have prepared landing coordinates and a diplomatic reception area. You are, of course, welcome to inspect our facilities." Zefkai looked at his science officer, who was frantically taking readings. "Captain," Vexna whispered, "I am detecting over 40,000 life signs on the planet, all human. 40,000, but only 3,000 were sent here." "I know, sir. But the readings are clear." Zefkai turned back to the screen. "Ms. Park, how many humans are currently on Korath 7? "As of this morning, our population is 43,216, Da'un replied. "We have been growing steadily since our arrival." "Growing? How?" "Natural reproduction, plus immigration from Earth colonies. Word has spread about what we have accomplished here." Many humans want to be part of our society. Immigration? To a death world? Korath 7 is no longer a death world, Captain. We have transformed it into something much better. Would you like to see for yourself? 2 hours later, HFY and his survey team were walking through the streets of New Busan, and nothing made sense anymore. The city was beautiful. Buildings grew out of the ground like living trees, but they were clearly artificial structures. With windows, doors, and all the features of advanced architecture, streets were lined with plants that glowed softly in the afternoon light. The air was clean and fresh with no trace of the toxic gases that should make this planet uninhabitable. But most disturbing of all were the humans themselves. They looked healthier and stronger than any humans HFY had ever seen. Children played in parks where carnivorous plants watched over them like gentle guardians. Adults worked alongside creatures that should have eaten them years ago. "This is impossible," Lieutenant Vexna kept saying. "Everything here is impossible." Kehoe met them at the city center, where a fountain made of living coral sprayed water that sparkled with rainbow colors. "Captain HFY," he said, extending his hand in the human greeting gesture that had caused so much trouble years ago. "Welcome to Korath 7. HFY hesitantly reached out and shook the human's hand. "Nothing terrible happened. Mr. Kehoe, I believe. You were the human ambassador who caused the Terra incident." "That is correct, though I prefer to think of it as a cultural misunderstanding. How are you alive? How is any of this possible?" Kehoe gestured for them to follow him. "Come, let me show you what we have built." They walked through districts where the buildings grew food on their walls and purified water in their basements. They saw workshops where humans and alien-looking creatures worked together to build technologies that neither species could have created alone. They visited schools where human children learned alongside baby animals that were supposedly deadly predators. "The planet was never trying to kill us," Kehoe explained as they walked. "It was testing us. Korath 7 is an artificial world, built by an unknown species millions of years ago. They designed it to find partners who could help complete their great work." "What great work?" "Creating the perfect ecosystem. A world where technology and biology work together to support life in ways that neither could achieve alone." They visited Sora's research center, where she showed them holographic models of the planet's internal systems. "The entire planet is a machine," she explained. "But it is also a living organism. The gravity control systems are biological computers. The weather management network is made of engineered organisms. Everything is connected, everything is alive, and everything is working together." "And humans can interface with this system?" Vexna asked. "Not just interface with it," Sora said. "We have become part of it. Our cities are extensions of the planetary network. Our people are partners with the local ecosystem. We have achieved true symbiosis." They visited Yujin's engineering projects, where buildings assembled themselves from local materials. They saw Teho's ecosystem management centers, where humans coordinated with planet-wide biological networks. They toured Minho's trade facilities, where goods moved through living transportation systems. But the most impressive sight was Wujin's agricultural districts, where carnivorous plants had been transformed into the most efficient food production system anyone had ever seen. "These plants used to hunt and kill animals," Wujin explained, showing them a field where children picked fruit from creatures that had been deadly predators. "But when they realized we were partners rather than prey, they changed their behavior. Now they grow food for us and we provide them with nutrients and protection." "How much food can you produce?" HFY asked. "More than we need. We could feed a population of 5 million people with room to spare." That evening, HFY and his team attended a dinner hosted by the human leadership. The food was unlike anything they had ever tasted. Familiar enough to be appealing, but improved in ways that made it almost magical. "Captain," Dayun said, as they ate, "we would like to make a formal request." "What kind of request?" "We want to apply for membership in the Galactic Council." HFY nearly choked on his food. "Membership? But you are exiles." "We were exiles," Kehoe corrected. "Now we are citizens of a sovereign world that has transformed the most dangerous planet in the galaxy into a paradise. We believe we have something valuable to offer the galactic community, such as..." We have identified 17 other failed death worlds in Council space, Sora said. Worlds that show the same artificial characteristics as Korath 7. We believe we can transform all of them into thriving ecosystems. You want to terraform death worlds? We want to complete the work that someone started millions of years ago, Eugene said. There is a network of these worlds scattered across the galaxy. Each one is waiting for the right partners to help it fulfill its potential. Zefkai looked around the table at the humans who should have been dead for over 2 years. They were not just alive. They were thriving in ways that seemed impossible. The Council will never approve this, he said. Why not? Kehoe asked. We have proven that humans can survive anywhere and improve any world we settle on. Is that not exactly what the galaxy needs? Zefkai could not argue with that logic. As he looked out the window at the beautiful, impossible city that had grown up around them, he realized that everything he thought he knew about humans was wrong. They were not dangerous because they were destructive. They were dangerous because they were creative, and now they wanted to share that creativity with the rest of the galaxy. 2 years after the humans arrived on Korath 7, something impossible started happening. The Galactic Council's monitoring stations, which had been watching the planet to record when the last human died, began picking up readings that made no sense. Deep in space, on a monitoring station called Outpost Omega 7, a technician named Fluxara stared at his screens with confusion. "Commander," he called to his superior, "you need to see this." Commander Hesseval floated over to the monitoring station. His body was like a jellyfish made of light, and when he was confused, he flickered faster than normal. "What is it?" he asked. "The atmospheric readings from Korath 7, Fluxara said. "They are changing." "Changing how?" "The toxic gases are decreasing. The acid levels in the rain are dropping. And look at this." Fluxara pointed to another screen. "The electromagnetic storms are becoming organized instead of random." Commander Hesseval flickered even faster. "That is impossible. Class 0 death worlds do not change on their own." "There is more, sir. The gravitational anomalies are stabilizing, and we are detecting large-scale construction activity." Construction? Who would be building anything on Korath 7? Both aliens stared at the screens. The only possible answer was too crazy to believe. On Korath 7, Wu Jin and Sora were in their research center, looking at discoveries that excited them more every day. "I think I understand now," Sora said, pointing to a holographic model of the planet's core. This world was designed to be a perfect ecosystem, but the builders never finished the project. "What happened to them?" Wu Jin asked. "I do not know. Maybe they died, or maybe they gave up when they realized how dangerous it was, but they left behind a planet-sized machine that was trying to complete itself." The model showed layers of technology buried deep in the planet's crust, machines that controlled gravity, weather systems that could create any kind of atmosphere, and a biological network that connected every living thing on the planet. The carnivorous plants, the changing gravity, the acid rain, none of it was natural, Sora continued. It was all part of a system trying to create the perfect conditions for life to evolve. But why was it killing everyone who came here? Because it needed a partner species. Something tough enough to survive the testing phase, and smart enough to help complete the programming. Wu Jin looked at the data from their human settlements. Everywhere humans lived, the planet was becoming more stable and more alive. And we are that species. We are that species. In New Seoul, Yujin was working on her most ambitious project yet. She was not just building a city anymore, she was building a partnership with the planet itself. "Look at this," she said to her engineering team. "The root systems of the carnivorous plants are connected to the underground machines. If we build our structures to work with the roots instead of around them, we can tap directly into the planet's power systems." The buildings in New Seoul were already impressive. They grew stronger during acid rainstorms. They adjusted their height automatically when the gravity changed, and they could move out of the way of dangerous weather. But Yujin's new designs would make buildings that were actually alive. "The walls will be part plant and part machine," she explained. "They will clean the air, produce food, and communicate with every other building on the planet. We will not be living on Korath 7 anymore. We will be living with it. Tejo's ecosystem. Management teams had discovered something amazing. The planet's predator species were not actually dangerous at all. They were part of a planetary immune system, designed to protect the ecosystem from harmful species. They tested us for 2 years, Tejo told Kehoe. Every challenge we faced was an examination. The plants that tried to eat us, the animals, that stalked us, even the weather, it was all checking to see if we were suitable partners. And we passed? We more than passed. We exceeded expectations. Now the predators actively helped the humans. Giant creatures that had once seemed terrifying would carry heavy equipment between settlements. Flying animals served as messengers and scouts. Even the most dangerous carnivorous plants had become gardeners, growing food and medicine for the human communities. Minho's trade network had evolved into something that would have been impossible on any other world. Instead of using ships or vehicles, goods moved through the planet's biological networks. A package sent from New Busan to New Daejeon would be carried by plants and animals, traveling through root systems and animal migrations. It is faster than any technology we had on Earth, Minho explained, and it does not cost anything except cooperation. The network was not just moving goods. It was moving information. Every human settlement was connected to every other settlement through the planet's living communication system. When someone in New Incheon discovered a better way to build something, everyone on the planet knew about it within hours. Dayun had been trying for months to improve communication with Earth. The breakthrough came when she realized she did not need to fight against the planet's electromagnetic interference. She needed to use it. The whole planet is like a giant transmitter, she told Kehoe. If we work with the system instead of around it, we can send messages anywhere in the galaxy. Kehoe was in his office in New Busan when Da-un burst in with exciting news. I got through to the Galactic Council, she said. What did they say? They think we are all dead. The monitoring stations have been reporting that Korath 7 is changing, but they do not believe humans could be responsible. Are you going to tell them the truth? Dayun smiled. I already did. I sent them a complete report on everything we have accomplished here. Kehoe looked out his window at the city growing around them. New Busan now had 30,000 residents. The buildings were beautiful in a way that mixed human design with the planet's natural systems. Streets were lined with helpful plants that provided light, cleaned the air, and grew food. The sky was still green, but it was a healthy green now, like spring leaves on Earth. How long before they respond? He asked. The message will take 6 months to reach them, Dayun said. And who knows how long they will spend arguing about it before they reply. Do you think they will believe us? I sent video evidence, pictures of our cities, recordings of our people living healthy lives, data showing how we have improved the planet's ecosystem. They will have to believe it. That evening, Kehoe walked through the markets of New Busan. Vendors were selling fruits that had never existed before, created by the partnership between human farmers and carnivorous plants. Artists were making sculptures from materials that the planet provided when they asked politely. Children were playing games that used the changing gravity as naturally as children on Earth used playground equipment. Wu Jin found him there, looking excited about his latest discovery. Kehoe, you need to see this, he said. I have been studying the planet's historical records. Historical records? The biological network stores information in the genetics of the plants. I figured out how to read it. Wu Jin showed him a tablet covered with data. This planet has been waiting for us for over 1 million years. Waiting for humans specifically? Not humans exactly, but waiting for a species with our exact combination of traits, adaptable enough to survive the testing phase, social enough to work with a planet-wide ecosystem, and stubborn enough to refuse to give up when everything seems hopeless. Kehoe thought about that. So the aliens who sent us here, they did not exile us, Wu Jin said. They delivered us to exactly where we belonged. As they walked home through the beautiful, strange city that had grown up around them, Kehoe realized something important. The Galactic Council thought they had solved their human problem by sending them to die on a deathworld. Instead, they had created a much bigger problem. They had given humans a world that made them stronger, smarter, and more capable than they had ever been before. and now there were 30,000 of them, with more arriving every day as word spread to Earth about the paradise humans had built on the galaxy's most dangerous planet. The aliens were going to be very surprised when they found out what humans could do when they really tried. The crash was worse than Kehoe had expected. The transport ship shook and screamed as it fell through Korath 7's atmosphere. Emergency lights flashed red, and people held onto their seats as hard as they could. "Everyone stay down," Tai-Ho shouted, over the noise. The ship hit the ground with a sound like thunder. Metal bent and broke. Sparks flew from the walls. Then everything became quiet except for the groaning of broken metal and the crying of frightened children. Kehoe stood up slowly. His head hurt and he could taste blood in his mouth, but he was alive. Around him, other people were getting up and checking if they were hurt. "Is everyone okay?" he called out. "Some broken bones over here," someone answered. "But we are alive." Through the cracked windows, Kehoe could see their new home. The sky was green and full of dark clouds. Rain was falling, but it was not normal rain. Where it hit the ship's metal hull, it made smoking holes. "Acid rain," Sora said, looking out the window with him. "Just like they said." Wu Jin was checking his equipment. Most of it was broken from the crash, but his scanner still worked. "The air outside has poison in it," he said, "but not too much. We might be able to breathe it for a while." "How long is a while?" Tai-Ho asked. "Maybe a few hours before it makes us sick." Yu Jin was looking at the ship's systems. "The life support is dead. We cannot stay in here." Outside, they could hear strange sounds. It was like animals calling to each other, but wrong somehow. And there was another sound, like something big moving through the trees. "We need to get out and find shelter," Tai-Ho said, "but that acid rain will kill us." "Wait," Yu Jin said. She was looking at a piece of metal that had fallen from the ceiling. The acid rain was hitting it through a hole in the roof, but instead of making holes in the metal, it seemed to be making it harder. "Look at this." Everyone came over to see. The human-made metal was not melting like it should. Instead, it was changing color and getting stronger. "That's impossible," Sora said. "Maybe not," Wu Jin said. "Human technology might work differently here. We use different materials than the aliens do." Minho was helping people gather their things. "We can figure out the science later. Right now we need to live through the next few hours." They used pieces of the ship's hull to make shields against the rain. It worked. The acid rain made the metal stronger instead of melting it, so they could walk outside safely. Korath 7 was like nothing they had ever seen. The trees were black and moved even when there was no wind. The ground was covered with plants that looked like they were watching the humans, and the smell in the air was like rotten eggs mixed with burning plastic. "This place really wants us dead," Doan said, staying close to Kehoe. They found a cave in some rocks not far from the crashed ship. It was not big, but it would keep the rain off them while they figured out what to do next. As they settled into the cave, Wu Jin went outside to collect samples of the plants and water. He came back looking excited. "This is very strange," he said. "The poison in the air is not actually poison. It's just different from what we are used to. Our bodies might be able to get used to it." "What about the plants?" Tai-Ho asked. "They are definitely dangerous, but they are also very smart. I think they are watching us to see what we do." That night, as they tried to sleep in the cave, they could hear the plants moving around outside. Sometimes something would come close to the cave entrance, but it never came inside. "They are testing us," Sora whispered to Kehoe, "seeing if we are strong enough to survive." The next morning, the acid rain had stopped. The sky was still green, but it was brighter now. When they went outside, they saw that their crashed ship was almost completely changed. The metal was now black and shiny, and it looked much stronger than before. "The whole planet is trying to change us," Yu Jin said, "or change itself to match us." Over the next few days, more people started getting sick from breathing the air. But something strange happened. Instead of getting worse and dying, they started getting better. Their lungs began to work differently, processing the strange gases in the air. Tejo organized hunting groups to find food. They discovered that some of the dangerous plants were actually good to eat, but only if you approached them the right way. If you tried to attack them, they would fight back. But if you moved slowly and showed them you were not afraid, they would let you take their fruit. It's like they respect us for not running away, Tejo told the others. Wu Jin made another discovery. The gravity problems the aliens had talked about were real, but they followed patterns. If you learned the patterns, you could predict when the gravity would change and use it to help you instead of hurt you. Watch this, he said, and jumped off a small cliff just as the gravity changed. Instead of falling hard, he floated gently to the ground. Minho was working with the families to set up a permanent camp. They used pieces from the crashed ship and materials they found on the planet. The shelters they built were ugly, but they worked. We are not just surviving, Minho told Kehoe after a week. We are starting to live here. But living came with a cost. 50 people had died in the first week. Some from the crash, some from eating the wrong plants, and some from accidents with the changing gravity. Every death hurt, but the remaining, people learned from each loss. Yujin discovered that human waste, when processed through the ship's recycling systems, produced chemicals that the carnivorous plants wanted. In exchange for these chemicals, the plants would protect the human camp from larger predators. We are making friends with them, she explained to the others. They help us, we help them. Sora was mapping the area around their camp. She found that the electromagnetic storms the aliens had mentioned were actually very useful. They could power human equipment if you knew how to catch the energy. This planet is not trying to kill us, she told Kehoe. It's trying to change us into something that can live here. Da-Un had set up a communication system using the electromagnetic storms. She could not reach Earth, but she could talk to other groups of humans who had crashed in different parts of the planet. There are survivors everywhere, she reported. And they are all learning the same things we are. By the end of the second week, the human camp had a name: New Busan. They had shelters that got stronger during acid rainstorms. They had food from plants that protected them. They had power from the electromagnetic storms. And they had hope. Kehoe stood outside the camp one evening watching the strange sunset paint the sky in colors that had no names. The air still smelled bad, and the plants still looked dangerous, but this place was starting to feel like home. Aliens were wrong about one thing, Da-Un said, coming up beside him. What's that? They said no one could survive here for more than 6 days. She smiled. We have been here for 14 days, and we are not just surviving. We are getting stronger. Kehoe nodded. Around them, the plants swayed in the evening breeze, and in the distance, he could hear the sounds of children playing. Human children, learning to live on a world that was supposed to kill them. Maybe the aliens did not understand humans as well as they thought.